Hi, boys and girls. All right, here is your writing prompt today. Yesterday, you wrote only about Marvelous Marble Mania. Today, you're going to look at both Rocks in His Head and Marvelous Marble Mania to write a paragraph or an essay. And remember, we said an essay is a short written response, but it's a really well developed paragraph. Okay, so let's read our question. Based on what you have read in each text, what are some reasons why people might keep rocks? Why might they keep marbles? How are those reasons alike? How are they different? Write a brief essay to answer these questions. After writing, review your essay to correct any errors in grammar, capitalization, punctuation, or spelling. Wow. That's a lot of questions. Let's break this up. So we're going to take this question and we're going to pull it apart. What do they really want you to do? Well, one, what are some reasons why people might keep rocks? Okay, so that's number one. Number two, why might they keep marbles? Number three, how are these reasons alike? And number four, how are they different? And then they want you, these are the four questions that you have to keep in mind for your paragraph. And they want you to create an essay, which we know is a paragraph. When you're all done, just like yesterday, you're going to review your essay and you're going to make any corrections in grammar, capitalization, punctuation, and spelling. But that's not until the very end. We want to focus on these four questions first. What are some reasons why people might keep rocks? Why might they keep marbles? How are these reasons alike? And how are they different? So I'm going to think a little bit here. Our first question is, why might people keep rocks? And we need to use our text evidence. So here's the story off to the side. And it doesn't really talk about why people keep rocks. It talks about why the man collects rocks, right? And he says when people ask what he wanted to be when he grew up, he said something to do with rocks, I think. And it also says in the story that he would go up to the attic with his rocks, and he spent a lot of time reading about rocks too. I also found text evidence that he had rocks from several states. So let's think about what we read in the story about his head was full of rocks. And let's think maybe people or the character in our story likes rocks. I mean, you would really have to like rocks to have a rock collection. Maybe you find rocks interesting for some reason. Or maybe you like to study the rocks from different places on Earth. So I'm thinking about those reasons. That might be why people want to collect rocks. I'm thinking that is why this gentleman in the story collected rocks. And so now I need to use text evidence to back those reasons up. And on page 96, it tells us when people asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, he always said something to do with rocks, right? So that tells me he finds them interesting and he likes them. And then on page 100, the author tells us that he spent a lot of time reading about rocks too. Well, you don't just read for fun for something you're not interested in. So I think this text as evidence supports that this gentleman really did like rocks. It was a high interest that he had. The next question, what are some reasons people might keep marbles? Well, I had to go to the other story, the story about marbles, Marvelous Marble Mania. And I found a few reasons why people like to collect marbles. First of all, if you're going to collect marbles, you must like them. Maybe you find them interesting or like to play marble games. Remember, we read a lot about games you can play with marbles. So now I need to think, is there text evidence to support that people like marbles, they find them interesting, and they like to play marble games? And maybe your marbles are worth some money, right? Well, on page 112, The author tells us that marbles come in all colors, design, and sizes. Well, I think if marbles come in all colors, design, and sizes, that would make them more interesting to people, wouldn't it? And then again on page 112, the author also tells us that one handmade marble from the 1800s can be worth thousands of dollars. And again, on page 112, the author tells us that millions of people around the world play marbles. So obviously, people who have marbles usually like to play marble games. So those answer two questions. Why do people collect rocks? And why would people keep marbles, right? But the other two questions said, how are our reasons alike and different? Oh, I got to think of that too. There's a lot of thinking to go into this paragraph. So I want to think, rocks, in the story I learned that you can find rock collections in museums. And you can also find rock collections in nature. I learned that in the story. Marbles, however, they're used for games, and they're popular all over the world, and they're not found in nature. They're made of glass and clay. But both rocks and marbles can be found all over the world, and both rocks and marbles come in different colors, designs, and sizes. Those are some similarities that rock and marble collections have, right? So now I want you to pause. We're going to get ready to write. So we're going to write together because we want to learn how to construct a good paragraph. So pause the video and go get your paper and your pencil. All right, boys and girls, welcome back. So the first thing we need to do is we need to think of a main idea. On the side of your paper, if you're using notebook paper, to the left of that red line, just write main idea. If you're using the graphic organizer that is provided in Schoology, you will already have something labeled main idea. So we're going to be writing about rocks and marbles, and we want to write about why people keep them or collect them. And I need that to be worked into my main idea. So I thought people from all over the world have collections. Some people like to collect rocks or marbles. My whole paragraph is going to be about people collecting rocks and marbles. Pause the video and write down the main idea. Welcome back, boys and girls. You should have written the main idea that I have above. People from all over the world have collections. Some people like to collect rocks or marbles. Now, the story specifically asked for reasons that people collect rocks. So obviously, I want to think about the story Rocks in His Head. And I need to find my text evidence from Rocks in His Head. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at that graphic organizer that we had. And we said that people were interested in rocks. He liked rocks. When he was asked what he wanted to do when he grew up, he said something to do with rocks. He read books about rocks. So I'm going to keep all of that in mind. And I'm going to create a sentence about rocks. I'm going to say people who collect rocks may do this because rocks from different places on Earth interest them. In the story Rocks in His Head, the man not only spent a lot of time collecting rocks, but he read about rocks too. He had rocks from New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Nevada. Boys and girls, in this sentence or collection of sentences, I have the reason people want to collect rocks is it interests them. And maybe they are interested in different places on Earth. And then I use parts of the story to support that opinion. I want you to pause the video and I want you to write Rocks in His Head to the left of the margin. And then I want you to write the text evidence from Rocks in His Head to the right of the margin, just like you did for the main idea. So pause the video and write this down. Welcome back, boys and girls. So now I have a main idea. I have text evidence from rocks in his head. But the next question was, what about marbles? Why do people like to keep marbles? So now I need some evidence from Marvelous Marble Mania. I wrote, other people may want to collect marbles. According to Marvelous Marble Mania, people collect marbles that come in many different sizes, colors, and designs. Very old marbles can be worth thousands of dollars. My text evidence supports that people may want to collect marbles. Pause the video and write this down too. Welcome back, boys and girls. All right, we're going to read this and see how it sounds all together. I'm going to start at the top with my main idea. People from all over the world have collections. Some people like to collect rocks or marbles. People who like to collect rocks may do this because rocks from different places on Earth interest them. In the story Rocks in His Head, the man not only spent a lot of time collecting rocks, but he read about rocks too. He had rocks from New Hampshire, Connecticut, and Nevada. Other people may want to collect marbles. According to Marvelous Marble Mania, people collect marbles that come in many different sizes, colors, and designs. Very old marbles can be worth thousands of dollars. Now, boys and girls, there was a question that said, how are these reasons alike? How are they alike? Well, rocks and marbles can be found all over the world. We're going to stick with that. Will you please pause the video and write down how they are alike? Rocks and marbles can be found all over the world. Welcome back, boys and girls. You should have written down how rocks and marbles are alike. Now we need to know, how are they different? My goodness, we wrote down some things in our Venn diagram. First of all, people enjoy playing challenging games with marbles, while others may want to go look at rocks in nature or in a museum. I'll repeat that. They're different because people enjoy playing challenging games with marbles, while others may want to go look at rocks in nature or in a museum. Pause the video and write down how they are different. Welcome back, boys and girls. Last, we need a conclusion in our paragraph. How can we conclude our paragraph about rocks and marbles? Well, rocks and marbles make good collections for those who are interested. That ties up this whole paragraph. Please pause the video and write down rocks and marbles make good collections for those who are interested. Good job, boys and girls. If you did not write all of this down, please rewind the video and start again. We are going to use this graphic organizer, and I'm not going to provide it for you. You have to have it filled out to write our paragraph tomorrow in class. All right, so thank you for following along. If you got lost, please rewind the video. We were writing this together, and we will learn more tomorrow. Happy writing!